wonderful afternoon to you. Welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji, and we start the show looking at the 2027 elections. Are Nigerians ready to exercise their franchise? Is there trust amongst the populace that INEC will deliver a free, fair election that is transparent? And what about the tough questions when it comes to this administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's APC-led administration, as well as the opposition? Are they ready for a 2027 election? Joining me for this conversation, I have with me a governance consultant, Dr. Adaramewa. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have a social commentator, Agbabiaka Ahmed.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Rubbin Minds. So we'll go right into the conversation. APC is in power. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has he done enough to justify a second term? Are Nigerians expecting hope to be renewed come 2027? I'll start with you, Dapo.
Okay, has he done enough? I think rather than answer from my perspective, I would judge him by the criteria he set before he became president. One of the key things he centered his campaign on was the promise of security. Now, unfortunately, it would not seem that that has materialized. I believe we've lost 2 brigadier generals in the last 6 months in cases where the terrorists attacked our military, which shows you the kind of confidence they have in themselves, right? And the second thing he promised us was that we were going to get constant electricity and that we will not pay estimated bills. His words. And he finished off that promise by saying that if I do not deliver on what I promised, you should not vote me in for a second term. So using his own set criteria, and considering that both of those areas seem to have failed clearly before our eyes, then I don't think Nigerians should. I think they should listen to the president himself and not vote for the president.
What about you, Ahmed? How would you rate this administration?
Okay, so I want to start from the... first of all, I want to answer your question in the affirmative, that he deserves a second term. Considering the challenges that the president faced, the administration faced on assumption of office, I think he has done pretty well. So just the 2 issues he mentioned, security and electricity. We've seen the motion, we've seen impact, we've seen effort by Mr. President.
When you say effort, I mean, can you quantify that? Is it by the collapse of the grid? Is it by improvement in terms of how much is generated, distributed? Can we be specific? Okay,
so recently, we just last week, we saw the approval of about 3.3 trillion naira to settle backlog of debts owed to GENCOs, electricity generating companies, you know, which has been one of the major issues, one of the major factors that has crippled the electricity sector. And you see, if we want to analyze this issue, the electricity, for instance, we will not just start by looking at it as a dash race. It's a relay. It's a marathon kind of. The problem started effectively when there was some kind of bias and mismanagement in the deregulation of electricity sector in 2013.
So are you saying that we should give Mr. President more time to deliver on those electoral promises?
Yeah, so these are just 2 out of the electoral promises, and there has been effort, which might not be so obvious in just 2 or 3 years, but again, there has been promise.
Security?
Yes, so much effort, because the armament and equipment that is needed and the kind of morale that is needed in terms of welfare, military personnel welfare, and the provision of the kind of equipment they need to execute in the theater of war and every other places that were facing challenges have been done by the president so far. You know, in very large amount.
So funds have been released, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and equipment have been purchased, training, collaboration with military. Recently, we saw that the United States of America has come in to collaborate in information sharing and also, You know, a whole lot of area. But beyond this, these are just two out of the many promises, many in the manifesto of Mr. President.
Okay.
There's the issue of
I'll
student
come
loan.
back to you on other areas. You are in the affirmative, and you are saying, I'm taking the president literally by his words, and based on that, Nigerians will not want to vote him in. But an election is not just about the ruling party, that's the APC, it's about the opposition. Do you feel that the opposition parties are in a good place with just months to the 2027 general elections to give the APC a run for their money and maybe even unseat this government?
Okay, I'll start by firstly agreeing with my brother here in that there's effort, but there are some things too critical for us to accept effort. If my house is on fire, I don't want effort. I want you to put out the fire. If the country is suffering and the people are hungry, we don't care for effort, we care for success. And unfortunately, this government is failing. Now, in regards to the opposition, right, the opposition is very committed. Now, bearing in mind that in 2023, more Nigerians left their house with their PVC to go and vote against this government than did vote for this government. Almost twice as many people left their house to say no to this government. The opposition that was there in 2023, based on what we have seen and the impact that this government has had, has only been strengthened. So we know that the people are tired of the suffering. They didn't want this government in the first place by the overwhelming majority, and even more so now are opposed to this government. Now, the issue we're having is that it seems like certain institutions, primarily INEC, is taking steps to strangle the opposition. But the truth is they will fail. They will fail woefully because the Nigerian people are not to be toyed with. And the Nigerian people will come out during that election and make known what they tried to make clear in 2023, and they paid a heavy price for the last 4 years as a result of not being able to do, which is that we want something different. We are tired of the same old business. We are tired of effort. We are tired of we tried our best. We are tired of excuses of blaming PDP from 16 years ago that this is what they... Enough is enough. People want a change.
So I'd like to give you an opportunity to actually speak on what this government has done for the people and why you believe they deserve a second term beyond security and electricity.
Yeah, okay, so before now, we have a situation that was so bad, I categorize them into three. It was so bad that government at the state level, subnational state and local government level, they borrowed money. It was so bad that they borrow money to pay salaries. That is the worst that can happen in any economy, in any country. We got it good. At a point, the state governments were getting money from the government. They are able to pay salaries, but they do borrow money from international markets to do infrastructural projects now, execute projects in their states. Currently, state governments do not even need to borrow money to carry out infrastructural projects. They can pay salaries and they can carry out projects without borrowing. That is the best that can happen in any situation. And this happened because the president freed up the economy. He floated the naira, which was one of the serious situation, but the worst situation we found ourselves as a country, where you have some kind of funny deals, you know, when it comes to the currency market, forex now. Then he also went ahead to remove subsidy in petrol, in the petroleum sector.
We've seen petrol rise as high as 1,300. Yes. I'm not sure how much you bought petrol. Do you think that there were enough measures in place to cushion the effects of the rising inflation and cost of living? So yes, salaries are being paid, but can Nigerians afford basic food items, shelter, on the current minimum wage, and with just how import dependent we are as a country? Yes,
okay, well, we are no longer that import dependent anymore as a result of some of the very initiative of this president. Recently, from the data, we've seen that we are now an exporting country. We export more agricultural products. We get more money, over 20 trillion, from non-oil sector, agricultural product, petrochemicals, and solid minerals. that has even surpassed what we used to get from the crude oil sales that we used to have, which was the mainstay of our economy, of revenue of our economy. So I think we have done so much in that regard. Now, talking about how it impacts the people, I was talking about the governors now. I was driving to a point. The president also went further by ensuring that he gave local government autonomy. The local government can get money. So how that is implemented by the governors is a separate case. Now, the people don't reside at the federal level. The people reside in the local government, in the ward, in the polling units, and else everywhere they can get access to. And the state government, the local government, these are the closest people to them. If the state government have been borrowing money to pay mere salary, and they can have so much money now to execute projects where they used to borrow money before, I think a lot has been done that the people now need to focus on the subnationals. The president cannot come down from Abuja and monitor what happens in Egbeda, in Ikotun, in Enugu, and elsewhere. The governors have the capacity to do that.
It's interesting you say this, because when we look at the amount of deflections that have happened, people moving to the APC, you'll find that the majority of these state governors, local government chairpersons, they are all mostly APC. So whether it's the president Nigerians are looking at or for help, or it's the governors, there's still that pressure and that expectation from the ruling party. And I'm not sure you've quite landed on the question I asked about the cushioning the effects of, you know, these economic policies. So I'll just like you to weigh in on that, because I think Nigerians have heard efforts. Nigerians have heard, okay, we're doing well, but are they feeling it in their everyday life when maybe people have to remove their children from private schools to public schools? People now have to walk where they were using public transport. Like, what has this government done to cushion the effects of some of these tough economic policies?
As far as I know of, nothing has been done successfully. I think there was an attempt to do the students' loan thing, which later turned out to be a farce, because vast majority of those funds apparently just disappeared. So this government has, I think, consistently shown a certain disdain for the average Nigerian, a certain carelessness in when handling its policies, right? Nobody is saying that all the policies were wrong, but sometimes there's a way in which you enact a policy that shows that you care about the people. You don't just go on national TV and say, fuel subsidy ends effective now. We all saw the impact of that, right? And nothing has been done. This idea that subnationals are supposed to handle it, that the local governments are supposed to handle it. But please, let's bear in mind that the money comes from the federal. Why is the federal sending the money to the state governor when it belongs to the local government chairman? Do they not have their account number? Is the government so incompetent that they cannot reach out to these local government chair people and then direct the funds directly to them? So there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of narratives, but no results. Every Nigerian knows that life isn't better now than it was in 2023. Now, you can give us the theory, and those of us who studied economics will understand that, okay, yes, you know, the GDP has grown by 4%. Now it's at 4%, absolutely fantastic. But the inflation is at 33%. So even though we are making a little bit more money, if we cannot afford the food, of what benefit is that?
Would you agree, Ahmed, that Nigerians have not had it this worse, or Nigerians have had it this good in this administration? Okay,
so I think we need to look at the indices now. We need to come down and look at specifics. You know, when he mentioned student loan and he said it was a farce, I just laugh. I don't know the statistics or what the information you are relying on, but I think if you go to the campuses, you go everywhere, there are verifiable facts that you can get, except for those that do not apply. People get student loan is one of the masterpiece, one of the greatest economic, social intervention of this government, whereby students, nobody needs to ask you for urgent 2K again. I don't know if any student will call you from any campus, because aside the student loan that's been so helpful across the country without any discrimination, without knowing anybody, you apply, you get it as a window, except for first-year students who applies and perhaps the application didn't meet up with the time of admission. And even at that, afterwards, they are being refunded. The money is being refunded.
But so that's just education. Let's talk about
the social, the impact now.
The food. Like, have you been able to afford more food in this administration?
Okay, so
how much are you spending on petrol, on rent, on food, while we're waiting for some of the rewards of these economic policies to mature?
Okay, so you see, it can't just be about food, there has to be a lot of indices. If a government awards contract for road now, a lot of people will come to work. You have the engineers, you have architects, you have the indirect, those that are going to have indirect impact on food sellers, vendors, and those that are going to come around, the sand suppliers, those that are going to supply, everybody is involved, and they are going to make money and go back to their houses. Now, what I'm saying is that the government is doing all this without borrowing because there's enough money, and this is making impact.
The government has borrowed, and you said that in your earlier submission.
I'm talking about at the subnational levels now, where these things can get to the people. You see, the economy, you can't compare what is happening in the economy at the federal level or what the government is doing at the federal level and what the impact that it should have at the subnational level. That is why we're in a democracy.
But I want to bring your attention to the argument by the APC when they said, when we have the president at the center and we have governors in APC, there will be more cohesion.
The president challenged just at the Ramadan dinner or lunch or dinner that he had with the governors. He challenged the governors. This is less than 2 months ago. He still challenged the governors, regardless of the fact that majority are in the APC, that they should make impact, get across to the people, because he has freed up money. A lot of money in their hands.
Are you saying the president has done well, but the governors have not done so well?
Yes, the people.
Is that what you're saying?
The people should hold on to the government.
So how would you
because they no longer borrow money.
So how would you rate the APC governors?
The APC governors, they are just like every other governor.
So the people should vote against the governor.
So how would you
just like every other governor? No, wait, no. That's not what you are saying. We have over 10 governors that have defected to the APC.
Okay, so those ones
that contested from other parties.
Okay, the 20 that were APC all the while.
No, you can't rate. See, when you talk about parties,
let's talk about the people, because at the end of the day, whether it's the governor, the local government chairperson, or the president, what affects the people? And I think you've not quite answered the question on the effects on purchasing power of everyday Nigerians to afford basics, not just school loans, but food, transportation, shelter. I mean, let's even look at the minimum wage. How much can that do for a family of 4?
So you see, social intervention is a very critical aspect of governance, but would be much more impactful at the state level. I'm not absorbing the federal government of any of these faults or anything.
Could you give us an example of a successful governor according to your eyes? According to your definition, give us an example of an APC governor who has done
a lot of governors are successful.
Let's talk about one. Just give us
one. I think I should concentrate on the question that was asked, So you see the impact when it seems like we're not focusing, we're not looking at this critical angle where we were coming from. We can't just pick it from here. We'll have to look at where we're coming from and be able to size it up. When governors salaries are being owed to civil servants.
You've established that point.
No. So if you look at that, now that salaries are being paid promptly, pensions are being paid promptly as at when due, and a lot of projects are ongoing at the state level. If you pay salary to one person, it goes to about 5 people. Yes, there's inflation. The cost of food has increased, but recently it is going down. The cost of food is reducing. It is reducing if you go to the market.
Up because when you have festive periods like the Salah period, let's also remember that transportation costs have gone up because of the increment in fuel price, and that has affected the price of food.
We buy fuel at 1,300 now, right?
Yes.
We never had. There's no way you find fuel queues right now. But there was a time, but in the past, but in the past,
when it was cheaper.
In the past, when it was cheaper, you have almost on a monthly basis, you have fuel crisis, you have strike and every other thing, and you have queues on at the fuel stations where you even buy fuel at this same 1,300, and you would not even. We're all in Nigeria. We all live here.
So the solution to lack of fuel in the past is to make fuel so expensive that the average person cannot afford it?
You can't just simplify it in that manner.
That's what you are saying.
But we're looking at the impact. We're looking at the impact on the everyday Nigerians. So some Nigerians now are not able to go to work 5 days in a week because transportation has doubled. Some Nigerians are doing not one or one not because they can't afford food, because food has also gone up. The cost of food.
This is not a Nigerian problem. This is a global thing.
But Nigerians are looking to...
Where are you comparing Nigeria with?
Their economies are doing absolutely fantastic. Consider the rate of inflation.
African country?
Let's even talk about it.
Is it in the US where people are protesting
even Benin Republic that is the size of Lagos State, economically is doing better than Nigeria.
How? On what
the average Beninese is any more than the average Nigerian. These are facts that you can look at.
No. I'm also telling you that.
So you cannot say that
the USA is not even where they were, because they are even protesting right now.
I tell you that the USA does not have a 63% poverty rate. Nigeria does. Ghana does not have a 63% poverty rate. Nigeria, we were coming from 56%. Now we're at 63% poverty rate.
Indices, the baseline indices. We were borrowing 400 billion naira monthly to pay for fuel subsidies.
We're still borrowing money right now.
400 billion to pay subsidy.
We are borrowing money right now.
To pay subsidy.
But do you agree that this government...
What I'm saying. Do you know the implication of borrowing money to pay subsidy?
But how has removing the subsidy impacted the lives of Nigerians?
No, you don't look at impact in the life of Nigerians.
So what is more important than the lives of Nigerians?
I'm telling you to analyze. Nigeria doesn't have the money, yet we are borrowing 400 billion monthly to pay subsidy. Can you just break that down?
Can you please? No. Let's break it down to the simple.
So we know that subsidy...
But we don't do that anymore.
No.
Well,
we don't do that anymore.
Can you point one area? Because I know I
the opposition in Nigeria. The opposition in Nigeria is not getting it right. That's why you see their leaders don't even talk about things like this. They don't talk about these economic indices. They don't discuss it.
So what do the opposition leaders talk about?
Most of them campaign on this same agenda, the same thing that in their manifesto. Check their manifesto in 2023.
Hold on.
All of them are almost saying the same thing. They say they're going to remove subsidy. But if you ask them now, they will tell you that no, they will remove it, but
they would have had, we had a plan.
They would have, these are same people.
No, to ensure that the Nigerian people don't pay a high price.
Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, who was governor.
Let me ask you a very simple question, right?
What are we saying?
I empathize with you trying to defend this government, right?
No, there's nothing.
It's near impossible. But tell me one area. Tell me one area in which the lives of Nigerians are better. One, and we'll close on that.
Because
tell me one.
Okay, so
just one specific area that the average Nigerian is doing better today than they were.
I really wish we could.
They are able to send their kids to school.
Okay,
without strikes. There's no ASU strike anymore.
Thank you very much.
300% is how much university fees has increased.
And the economy, there is NELFON. There is NELFON, and that is reflective of the cost of running every institution. And there is NELFON right now to cater for that.
So unfortunately, we are out of time. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you very much, Dakpada Mewa and Agbabiaka Ahmed, for your contributions. Well, time will tell come 2027 where Nigerians...
Don't blame every other person for their problem.
Not if the election
grabbing other people's party.
Well, I think at this point, I think
there's even no party.
I think at this point,
there's even no opposition. No, you will blame INEC. Instead of forming a party like Tinubu and Buhari did in 2015, they formed a party. Asiwaju brought ACN, Buhari brought CPC, Rocha Sokoroja brought part of ABGA, and they formed APC. These people, they call themselves coalition. They call themselves coalition.
Okay, so
Atiku left PDP is still standing. Okay. Peter Obi left Labour is still standing. Kwankwaso brought the shell, the remnant, even nothing from NNPP. Yeah, they call themselves coalition. Coalition of what? What
that
party and what party?
So perhaps we can have this. Perhaps we can have this conversation.
What are we talking about here?
Perhaps you can continue this conversation off air. But at this point, we'll have to go on a break. Thank you so much for all your submissions, and all eyes are on INEC to ensure that free and fair elections are conducted and the process is transparent come 2027. We go on a short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. Now, away from the politics and 2027 national elections, the conversation moves to relationships. And we've seen a trend where people all over the world, not just Nigeria, are more expressive about their expectations of marriage, of friendships, of long-term commitments, and what would have taken 5 years, 10 years, 15 years to happen in terms of separation, divorces, is now happening in a matter of months or even under a year, where we see people go their separate ways. The conversation looks at expectations. It looks at what needs to be done before people go into long-term committed relationships to ensure that at the end of the day it doesn't break down. Joining me for this conversation is a content creator and coach in the person of Bukumi Preacher. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. We'll go straight into the conversation. You know, these days people will say, this is not a red flag, this is, it's a red billboard, or it's a red truck, leave. And you see people getting married, and it almost sounds weird where you've bought someone's Ashwebi, and in a matter of months, you hear they are no longer together.
That should be expired.
Yes, exactly. Be expired. And you're wondering, what are all these issues that are just coming up? Didn't people see these red flags before getting into marriage? Where do you think people are getting it wrong these days?
Personally, I don't think the red flags are the problem. You see, a red flag, it's just, oh, there's something here that I need to check. I remember having a conversation some months ago, and I said, I myself married as a red flag.
Oh.
And what I meant by that was that when I got married, I was 36 years old. So my woman had to ask questions to say, what are you doing before this age? How did you get here? What are you doing? Why have you stayed single all this while? So the red flag is not a problem. But I think one of the problems we have as a people is that we hate these conversations. And our idea about concept of marriage is different. And let me say this before we continue. What I believe, what I would answer today would be based on what I've seen work for myself, at least 5 years of relationship, and would be influenced by the scriptures, the Bible. That's what the question will be. Because you see, today you have people based the concept of marriage on what happened to one uncle or one auntie. You see a situation whereby a guy is telling you, oh, when you get married to this woman, oh, don't show her all of your money because you need some money to do husband. There's a woman out there that the mom had a problem with her own father or the ex, is telling the daughter, when you get married, you have to keep money from your husband. And you are not getting married to your mother's husband. But there is a passed down, in generation of failures. Like people's pain is what we now use in the name of culture. Or one uncle said. So I'm not going to do that.
So are you putting the blame on the past generation of what marriage should look like?
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is everyone in this chain has a blame. Because for me, as an example, personally, I would not take what someone said because it's cultural and use that as the yardstick for my marriage. And I expect the people at the front to say, when you're talking to people, young people getting married, should not be based on your own experience. You're a Nigerian, and I'm sure you've heard people say, oh, we don't marry from this culture. You should not marry from this culture. If you go into those conversations, it's probably someone somewhere is angry with someone somewhere in that culture. So we tailor everyone in that culture and say no. So the idea of everyone in that value chain must really work. I'll give you a personal story.
So sorry to jump right in. So the people who are watching and are saying, oh, I'm about to make this long-term commitment. I'm about to get married to the love of my life. What are the questions I should be asking? What are the flags I should be looking out for? What should my expectations be?
I think what is very important is who are you and what are you trying to achieve yourself? Because it's really, it's not wise for you as a, say a lady, you want to become a professional musician, that's your goal in life, and then you want to get married to a Mike Tyson. What does he know about music? What's your purpose? That's where I'm going. I think one thing we need to settle is what exactly is my purpose and who really fits into that purpose. And if you go back to the original arrangement of marriage, that used to be the thing, like, oh, I'm getting married to you. It's not the look of the girl, it's not the size of the purse of the man, which often at the beginning these things don't really matter. And
so are you saying emotional connection, compatibility, the where you are, potential versus realization, those things are not as important?
No, they are as important, but because we live in a generation where most of us don't even know who we are or what we want to become. And unfortunately, because we don't know ourselves, we find it very difficult to even know the other person. Say, most men that are successful today, you need to go into their past. They don't look anything like what they have today. Now, it takes a woman who is wise to look at a man who is just starting up a business to say, oh, this is going to be...
so are you saying a woman can marry potential?
Oh, a woman must marry potential, not can. A woman must marry potential. No. See, a woman must marry potential. A man must also marry potential. Let's not say that conversation. As a man, you should not, I believe now, you should not join yourself with, and I don't want to use the word poor, because this conversation is not about money. One of the things I believe that has helped my life personally and the men around me is the quality of my wife, the intelligence, the level of conversation. Like, I can bring something to her and say, I'm thinking about this plan wanted, and if she says, okay, you know what, I think this will work, it's the quality of mind. So potential is very important to say, oh, can she think, is this head working? Oh, the wig is fine, but is the brain inside that wig, is it valid?
But I hear you about potential, but a lot of times people still get advice that, look, you need to marry someone that can take care of you. So will you say that people are less patient waiting for the realization of potential, or people just want someone that can afford their lifestyle and they don't want to suffer, someone that can take them to the next level?
And so that's where the problem starts with. If any woman goes into marriage thinking that you are seeing a poverty alleviation program, she will suffer, the man will suffer, because you are in a relationship for the wrong reason. At the very beginning, the idea is a helpmate, someone that can help you. Now, when people say, what do you bring to the table? The conversation is not about which money do you bring. When we are trying to build, because we're trying to build something really, not everyone comes to this world with everything settled, but a young man going into marriage, a young woman going into marriage is trying to build, which is why you see that some people go into marriage and the life that was working just suddenly stopped working, and you're wondering, and she was doing well before she got married, though. And the man, a woman that wants to do so much in life, and the other say, oh, I don't believe in that dream. So how come you didn't believe in that dream? What happened? Did he know about the dream before? Did we discuss that before? So all of that should come into it. But we have a situation whereby when we even go on dates now, we go and eat food, we go and swim, we do all sorts. Then you're asking the question, what are you people doing when you were dating? Like, did you have these conversations?
So are you saying people don't discuss?
Oh, they don't discuss. I promise you, people don't discuss. I have a conversation in my inbox recently. Man and woman, they live. The woman now lives abroad because the man said he's not following her anywhere. Now, the idea is, did you have that discussion? Do you know where she wants to live, what she wants to do? I've seen cases where people got married, and what broke them is because the woman is growing, the man has refused to grow. And you can really see that this guy is not growing.
So you can see some level of incompatibility. But let's talk about the big one. The generation before us, a lot of the people, especially the women, stayed back, and you'd see cases of infidelity, domestic abuse, and the excuses were staying back for our children, and this is what my grandmother did, this is what my great-grandmother did. But we're seeing a generation that is standing up to infidelity, to abuse, and we're seeing more divorces. How can we get to a place where people's expectations of marriage comes with fidelity, with peace, and not resulting to blows, where it's almost unacceptable? Because this society still very much believes that at least he's still paying for your children's school fees. Just leave him to do what he's doing. Just leave him. Is he disturbing you?
I think every decadence you see around us as a people now, not even Nigerian, is in every part of our life. In education, in finance, in the homes. It's there, do you get? Now, in our got to be, what exactly did you guys discuss? See, when people say that marriage is about communication, It sounds like the quotable quote, what is cool to say, but that's actually really the conversation to say, you know what am I able to take? What you just mentioned now, some women are willing to take it. They don't mind being the second wife. They don't mind, and they say, now if you are a man and you want to marry, plenty, you should find those girls and marry them because they want to do that. But if there's a woman that says, you know what, I'm not comfortable to having this and that because of this and that, then let the people that are not comfortable with that go with each other. The people that are comfortable go with each other. Now, and I need to mention the concept of talking about battering, beating. Stay. There is no reason a woman should stay with anyone. And we've seen the cases here and there, deaths happening, someone dying. The smartest thing for you to do is to preserve your life first. Because you see, with or without marriage, you have a destiny. And I think that's the problem that we have as a people, that and it's annoying that, I'm going to use ladies as an example. You will see girls speak on social media, talk, and you are wondering that, is there nothing to your life except when you meet a man? You see, I can't, as a conversation, I can marry Yahoo boys. And I'm asking, so you can marry a swindler, someone that steals for people for a living. We all know that these guys are frustrated. They steal from people. They lie to people. They cheat people. Like, what they do results in people dying. But we have millions of girls who are comfortable with them. They can provide. Now, you join yourself with someone who steals for a living, who swindles people for a living, kills people. At the end of the day, you are killing people's life. You join yourself with that person because they can provide materially. You forget the fact that you are going to get pregnant. You need someone that is emotionally intelligent. You have a child that needs a father to raise the person. We change in marriage. You see, you see yourself after 3 years, 4 years in marriage, you are becoming a different person, because a single man is different from a married man. A married man is different from a father. So you're changing. Your life is changing. Your business is growing. It's different. Those questions are different. So you join because of materialism. Then you are in trouble.
So I wish we had more time to continue this conversation, but you raise very pertinent issues, and one is not to enter a marriage because of materialism.
No.
Thank you very much, Bukumi Preacher.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our hope is that people are watching and are listening, and they ask the right questions and go in for the right reasons. We'll go on a quick break on Rubbin.
Know what's happening across Nigeria's various regions on Channels Television's Newsroom series. Every Monday, we bring you stories from the Southwest. And on Tuesday, the Northwest is our focus. We're in the South for midweek reports on Wednesday. And later in the week, the North Central takes center stage. The Southeast gets the spotlight on Fridays. And we close out the week with the Northeast on Saturday. Watch Newsroom series, 3 p.m., Monday to Saturday, only on Channels Television.
Are you ready for the thrill, the grit, and the glory? Feel the energy.
This is where legends are born. Every game, every match, every moment.
Witness the passion.
From the court to the track, into the stadium, everywhere in between, we've got you covered.
Celebrate the journey.
It's not just sports, it's life in motion.
This is where every sport comes alive. Your all-access pass to the world of sports. At these times, only on Channels Television.
Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. Now, our final segment is our social brief, where we look at some of the trending social issues and incidents that have caught our attention over the past week. We start off with the Blessing CEO controversy around her alleged cancer claim. Amongst other stories we'll be discussing, and joining me is a social commentator, Abdul Hakim Ogundipe. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. We'll go right into it. I'm sure you've seen the alleged claims of cancer. Blessing CEO has shaved her head, not knowing which stage of cancer. There have been quite a number of interviews granted, and there's just been a lot of concern by Nigerians. Is this real? Is this not real? Where do we draw the line on what is content and what is serious? And if this is not real, should there be consequences?
I think it's actually a very serious issue because cancer is not a disease you joke about. There's still no cure for cancer, as it were. So if you come around and say you've got cancer, then people should take you seriously. But if we then find out that the histology or the report that you're showing is falsified, right, then you should also be taken seriously. Like, it should be taken as a very serious offense, right? Which is why I believe the way and manner I believe the issue should be treated. Right, and it raises serious concerns about the people we call influencers, amplifiers, and things like that.
So do you think the police should be involved and investigation should be carried out? Do you think if it's found to be false, that the monies raised under that context should be refunded and accounted for?
Well, I mean, it's a bit dicey because it's a willing buyer, willing seller situation. One person comes out and says, I've got cancer, people go ahead and donate. You cannot exactly control that exchange, right? Because if somebody, I mean, she was able to convince or maybe swindle people into doing that, you know, that sort of a situation. But I don't know. I mean, I would not make any judgment call to say whether the police should be involved or anything.
Well, I think you've raised a very important point that cancer is something that's very serious, and people have died from it. So if it's not real, then it almost makes a mockery of other people's pains. And the next time someone comes up, people might not be as willing to donate. So I'll move to the viral inter-house sports moment. I mean, we see a student that's dancing suggestively with an adult, and it raises a lot of concerns. But, I mean, before you tackle that, do you have any last words on the Blessing CEO matter?
Well, I just think we all need to be more cautious, more careful when it comes to things around health and, you know, the public, right? Just, you shouldn't try to swindle the public with anything that has to do with health-related issues so that it doesn't affect people who actually have the disease, right? Who should be garnering public sympathy. You should not use your status as an influencer to try and swindle people.
And, you know, with the issue of the police being involved, you know, you said we later found out that it was falsified, allegedly. A lady comes out to say, this is my report, it was doctored. And, I mean, isn't that a case of Yahoo Yahoo? Isn't that fraud? I mean, medical fraud.
Medical fraud, because when you think about it, you're using somebody else's details and then you're portraying them as yours. That's classic, that's fraud, actually, right? Forgery. And yeah, when you think about it, it begins to circle back to what the police should take up as their duty. So, yeah, if the police are up to it, they should take it up.
And what does it say about Nigerians and maybe gullibility? Will you say that Nigerians should have asked more questions, should have held, you know, this public figure to greater scrutiny before parting with their money?
Well, I mean, I think it says a lot about Nigerians. On the one hand, it shows that Nigerians are very giving, right? When it comes to anything that has to do with health, when it comes to anything to do with the welfare of the people that they love and the people that they admire, they would go, you know, lengths to make sure that the people that they love are kept alive. You know, there have been several fundraisers that have been raised, and then, you know, they've been able to help people get over whatever, you know, illnesses and, you know, issues that they've had. But it then now begins to beg the question when people are taking advantage of that, you know, communal
generosity,
and the generosity
and the compassion, the empathy of Nigerians.
Yeah.
So,
so the person who's doing that is the person who's to blame, not Nigerians. Yes.
Let's continue being empathetic and generous and giving to social causes.
Definitely.
But I think the police has their work cut out for them.
Definitely.
We'll move to the viral inter-house sports moment. I mean, as a parent watching an adult with a child, the suggestive dancing, I have a lot of questions. Like, what does it say about the school? What does it say about the adult? What does it say about the child? What does it say about the home? What came to mind when you saw that clip?
Horrid, horrendous, you know, absurd, appalling, mortifying. No child should ever have to go through that from any adult. No adult should permit such thing to happen ever you know, in their presence, you know, you should gather everybody in that school, all the adults in that school, and, you know, publicly, you know, discipline them. Because how would you let young children, teenagers, I mean, if you watch the video, there was a gentleman who propped up one lady to actually...
They're not even teenagers. I mean, because teenagers can go all the way to 19. These are young children.
I mean,
like,
they're just...
And the example, like, what example are we setting?
No, it's
if this thing show on social media, is this commonplace? We start to ask, like, where are the checks and balances?
And the question you then ask is, if this can even happen in the presence of their teachers and their so-called, you know, guardians in school, what do these kids then get to do when they are not around people? Because, you know, from a communications perspective, there are two legs to it. There's the mainstreaming and there's the resonance. They may be seeing these things happen on TV, watching it on social media, but then when they now see adults around them, permit them or, you know, enable them to do such things.
Look at the video on the screen playing. I mean, and you know, this is not a private video. This is, and at any point should there have been a like stop, no, like it went on for, it wasn't like a blink of a second.
No, it's terrible, right? It's terrible, and it's dejecting, right? Because it reduces the level of hope that you have in the forthcoming generation and what even we as the older generation are doing to protect our children and protect the future, right? It just says a lot about us as a society, right? You think about it, chicken and egg, society and media, which one comes first? I feel like even as a society, we've really failed these children that are coming up. You know, we speak a lot about boomers, we speak a lot about the generation, the Gen Zs.
I think, you know, as a mother, I'm horrified, I'm mortified, because when I send my child to school, my children to school, the teachers are local parents. They are representing me.
Yes.
And they have failed. Yes. I feel they failed, they failed. And it's not enough to just trend on social media. Like you said, there needs to be some level of accountability. People need to answer for their consequences. It's because what happens when the cameras are not rolling?
Exactly.
Does it mean that we have maybe teachers impregnating students, groping students, sexual assault?
Those are the questions we should ask, because this looks horrible. I mean, for this to happen and get filmed, you can tell that, I mean, the school certainly has some level of permissibility for whatever sort of, you know, nonsense that they could...
I mean, if it was even children with children, would say, oh, they are not, you know, making sure that the children are morally upright. But then this is now giving pedophilia.
If you watch the video, there's a gentleman who goes and props up a lady to go and, you know, what exactly, I mean, the only thing those girls did not do, I mean, the men did not do, was take off their clothes over there, because every other thing, they've done it with them.
It's tantamount to sexual assault.
It's sexual assault.
And these are underage, these are minors.
Yes.
So what is happening? Are children being defiled?
Okay.
Can you just look at this video? Like, what is this? Like, he's positioning himself. Like, he's touching her. Like, he's encouraging it. Like this is not even silence is complicit. It is a case of, look, it's okay, it's normal, it's commonplace. And I think that is so wrong. And I really think the Nigerian police needs to get involved, because we can't be sending our children to schools only to end up having them defiled and assaulted. I think we still have a bit of time for, you know, this issue of Toyin Abraham, wildly successful actress, producer, director, and she's getting backlash for going on her knees. I mean, I'm Yoruba. I was trained to kneel down to greet my grandmother, to greet my aunties. I tell my children to dobale and to kunle. So why is this even an issue? And should it be an issue?
Well, I mean, I feel people...
I mean, look at the video. Like, what exactly is the issue?
People, you know, would always look for something to talk about. There's, you know, this story, this Ebenezer Obey's song of, you know, the man, the horse, and his son, right? Where they say, there's nothing you would do that would ever be enough for the average Nigerian. The lady went there and knelt down. It changes nothing. She's a Yoruba lady. It's her culture to kneel, to greet people, even though the lady is age mates with her. Look, we have this belief in Yoruba culture that the fingers are not equal.
Ika
Odogba, right? The fingers are not equal. So even if we're age mates, even if you're probably of a higher social status than I am, it's not bad. I mean, and her husband is there, Razak Okoya, who's, you know, it's okay to greet. And it then brings up the question, when you think about it, we also applied looking at it from a gender role, from a gender perspective, because if you remember when Bola Tinubu met with Olusegun Obasanjo, and you know he was going to shake him, he bowed to greet him. Everybody called him a humble Yoruba man, but Toyin Abraham has gone to kneel to greet somebody else, and then she's now facing backlash for it. I mean, it doesn't balance out. Like, let's think about it correctly, right? So, I just think people are, you know, just looking for something to say about the young lady. Yeah. She's done very well for herself, and she's free to express herself any way she likes.
Like, she's not committed a crime. If she wants to kneel there, if someone else wants to dobale, it's their own prerogative. Like, Nigeria should find something else, really,
just get something else
to talk about. Yes. I think we only have time for just one more. When we look at what happened with DJ Tunes and Burna Boy, I don't know if you're which side of the divide you're on, but it just, you wonder, like, you have this much influence, and this is what we're seeing. Like, where do we draw the line? What is, like, where do these celebrities know where to leave beef as beef before we're now exchanging blows, and this is even being filmed and being published?
Well, I mean, beef generally is, these online cold wars that you see happen, right? And for me, I believe there are means to prop up and then, be relevant.
Wow,
those fights in this camp.
That is a very expensive cost or price to pay for relevance, and I think it's setting the wrong example. Thank you so much for your contributions, Abdul Hakim Ogundipe. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. And that's where we wrap up this episode of Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. Remember, you can follow the conversation online using the hashtag Rubbin Minds. Good afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.